Hey everyone! Welcome to The Young and the Restless. I'm Jane, and I'm so excited to have you here. If you love Young and the Restless, then you're in the right place. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Alright, let's dive right in. According to The Young and the Restless spoilers for Friday, July 11th, a mysterious knife perpetrator will strike while Claire Newman is falling into Holden Novak's arms. Audra Charles will also tempt Kyle Abbott, but she may cause some problems for herself in the process. For starters, Holden will once again rescue Claire. Claire, who is grieving the loss of Cole Howard, will accept Holden's consoling embrace and receive much-needed sympathy. Claire may be concerned that she is being unfair to her mother by relying on Victoria Newman. Victoria is also grieving, so Claire may accept this and admit she does not want to make things tougher for her. Claire will miss Kyle's support, but Holden will gladly step in. Just how far will Holden's comfort extend? Could Claire fall into a kiss with Holden while Kyle is out of the picture? Regardless, Kyle will be in nice with Audra, experiencing some emotional moments. Audra will increase the heat in the temptation department, bringing Kyle closer than ever to giving in. It turns out that Audra will be seduced as well, so will she surrender alongside Kyle? Could Kyle and Audra be in bed together before the night is over? Adam Newman will return to Genoa City from France and confirm to Chelsea Lawson that Kane Ashby is Aristotle Dumas. After Adam updates Chelsea on his information transaction with Victor Newman, they'll plot together. Chelsea and Adam will want to figure out how to thwart whatever Kane is doing, so they will collaborate on a strategy. Back in Nice, fans will see a mystery suspect wearing gloves and wielding a knife. The program has been teasing a whodunit for a time now, and it's finally set to begin. Kane prophesied that he would be the target of an assassination attempt, so will this mysterious perpetrator pursue him? Could Kane have ordered this himself by having Carter lightly stab him for a Damian Kane frame-up? Of course, it is possible that someone else will face the knife. Depending on how things turn out, Chance Chancellor or another character could find themselves in dire jeopardy. Whatever the case, Friday's cliffhanger should be filled with frightening moments thanks to the knife-wielding perpetrator and all of the drama that is about to unfold. The streetlight's weak glow created long, frightening shadows across the rain-slicked pavement as Claire rushed along the desolate alley, her breath coming in short, frightened gasps. The sound of her own heartbeat filled her ears, drowning out the distant bustle of the city beyond the tight passage. She gripped her coat more around her, the fabric damp from the persistent precipitation, her fingers quivering as they brushed against the cold metal of the locket around her neck, a present from her grandmother and the only thing that seemed solid in this moment of pure horror. She hadn't intended to get involved, or to see what she had seen, but there was no turning back. The picture of the knife, glinting ominously beneath the bar's wavering neon sign, ran across her thoughts like a cruel taunt. The disagreement, the shouting, and the abrupt, horrible silence as the sword hit its spot all happened so quickly. She hadn't seen the attacker's face, only the gloved hand that handled the blade before fading into the darkness like a ghost. But she'd seen enough to realize she was in danger. Enough to know that if the killer discovered she had witnessed the crime, she would be next. Her foot caught on a loose cobblestone, and she stumbled forward, barely recovering herself before landing face down on the damp ground. A stinging ache went through her ankle, but she forced herself to continue jogging, her pulse racing as she looked over her shoulder. Was there a sound of footsteps behind her? Is it merely the echo of her own frenzied motions bouncing off the brick walls? She was unable to tell, and the uncertainty made her skin crawl. The lane appeared to go on forever, a labyrinth of darkness with no end in sight. She needed to get out and find somewhere secure, but where? What about the police? No, what if the killer had connections? What if they were watching the stations, waiting for her to flee like a cliched victim in a cheap thriller? She couldn't trust anyone. Not now. And suddenly, as she came around a tight turn, her body slammed with something solid, no, someone. A frightened shriek from her lips, and muscular hands held her shoulders, preventing her from falling. Her gaze jumped up, encountering a set of familiar eyes, deep, intense, and filled with equal parts anxiety and perplexity. Holden. Of all the individuals she could have met, it had to be him. She has an ex. After their acrimonious breakup 6 months ago, she vowed never to talk to him again. The man who destroyed her heart without offering a reason. And yet, here he was, causing both astonishment and strange relief. Claire? His voice was low and harsh with astonishment, and his grip tightened slightly, as if he expected her to flee. What the hell are you doing out here? You look like you saw a ghost. She opened her lips to answer, but the words stuck in her throat. How could she explain? How could she tell him she was fleeing for her life, that she had witnessed a murder and was now being pursued by an unidentified killer? Even she thought it sounded absurd. But terror must have been written all over her face, for Holden's demeanor changed from confused to darker and more protective. His eyes darted past her, studying the alley behind her with a quick, discerning look. Someone's after you, he continued, not asking a question but making a statement. She nodded silently, her body shaking for reasons unrelated to the cold. Holden did not hesitate. In one rapid action, he drew her closer, snuggling her against his side as he turned to protect her with his body. Come on, he said quietly, his voice a stable anchor in the tumult of her thoughts. We're getting out of here. She wanted to object and demand her own answers. What was he doing here? Why was he assisting her after everything? But the sound of faraway footsteps echoing down the lane sent another surge of panic through her. There wasn't time for questions. There's no time for anything but survival. So she let him lead her, her fingers digging into the fabric of his jacket as they went quickly through the maze of backstreets, his movements sure and confident, whereas hers were frenzied and wobbly. Holden knew the city better than she did, including its secrets, shortcuts, and hidden corners. It was something she used to admire about him when they were together. He had always had a manner of navigating the world that made it appear smaller and less daunting. Now, that expertise could save her life. They squeezed into a narrow hallway, Holden shoving her back against the wall and peering around the edge, his body tense with anticipation. Claire held her breath, her heart pounding so loudly that she was certain it would alert them. Holden finally relaxed slightly and returned his gaze to her after seconds that seemed to last forever. I think we lost them, he murmured quietly, his eyes still watchful. For now. Claire exhaled shakily, and her legs became weak beneath her. She sagged against the wall, putting her palms against the cold brick to keep herself stable. Holden. He shook his head and shut her off. Don't. Not here. We need to get somewhere safe first. Then tell me what the hell is going on. She wanted to fight, to say that she didn't need his help and that she could do it on her own. However, the truth was that she couldn't. And, as painful as it was to acknowledge, she was relieved he was here. Glad she had fallen into his arms, physically and metaphorically, in her hour of need. Holden grabbed for her hand, his fingers warm and soothing against hers. Trust me, he whispered quietly, his gaze fixed on hers with such intensity that it sent shivers down her spine. She did it despite the past, the anguish, and the unanswered questions. For the time being, that should enough. The rest, the mystery of the knife, the identity of the perpetrator, and why Holden had returned to her life at this precise moment, would have to wait. Because a murderer was still out there in the darkness, pursuing her. And if they didn't keep moving, they'd both become just another couple of victims in a city that had seen far too much murder. Claire tightened her hold on Holden's hand and nodded. Okay, she whispered. Let's go. And with that, they vanished into the night, two shadows fleeing a threat neither of them completely comprehended, yet.